to another edition of Fearless Conversations. This is Geva Salerno, and I am here with Tracy Sanders. We have an exciting event planned for you. So I'm going to share a little bit about myself and Over 40 Fearless and Free, and then introduce you to Tracy. I am Geva Salerno, the founder of Over 40 Fearless and Free, an international women's movement of over 11,000 members worldwide. You can find us on Facebook. I'm a writer living in Southwest Florida, and I believe that women over 40 can live happy, juicy, fulfilling lives. I am interested in the intersection of science, spirituality, and psychology, but mostly personal growth. I'm a lifelong learner with degrees in biochemistry and international policy. I'm also a certified yoga instructor with advanced training in yoga for trauma recovery. And at Over 40 Fearless and Free, we are working to change the world by helping women to become happier. We inspire women over 40 to recognize their own value, power, and potential in order to create a life they love. Because when women are happy, we impact the lives of everyone around us. And that's how we're changing the world. So allow me to introduce to you the amazing Tracy Sanders. I happen to know that she is amazing because we have worked together for how long now?
Gosh, over 2 years now.
Quite a while. Quite a while. And Tracy is the coordinator for the female entrepreneurs in Over 40 Fearless and Free. She is also the author of 11 books, and because of her expertise in that area, she helps other up-and-coming authors to get their books self-published, and she's a marketing consultant. So she consults on marketing both to new authors and to entrepreneurs. And she has a Facebook group, a group called Rise Up Mamas. Tracy is a mama herself, and she's very passionate about helping mamas to come together to rise up and fulfill their potential. And I'm going to let her share some more about that in a moment. But she is also a yoga enthusiast, which brings us to today. So we are going to be talking about how Tracy did yoga for 365 days straight. And we'll get to that in 1 second, but first I want to ask Tracy if she wants to add anything to that intro that I may have forgotten.
Sure. First of all, I have basically two facets of my brand, right? So my brand is me, of course, as I teach all the other entrepreneurs. Your brand is you. But I have Rise Up Mamas, which is all for helping moms step in from all walks of life, right? Step moms, foster moms, adoptive moms, everyone. Moms to be birth moms, to step into their power as a parent and basically take back that precious position of authority in their children's lives. And you are the most important influence in their lives. And I basically coach them how to do that. You know, I give them strategies, practical tips and strategies through my podcast, my book, my timeline, Facebook Lives, things like that. And then, of course, my group. So that group is for moms from all walks of life. Then I have Blast Your Book, and it's women writing and publishing. And that is where I give tips on writing, grammar, publishing, marketing books, anything like that. You know, anything that has to do with the self-publishing industry, that is what you can find in that group. So two different brands. I'm at two different parts of my brand, but still all me. And yeah, I just love helping women tell their stories and expand their brands and really step into their power in whatever area of life they want.
So actually, in a way, you're helping some of these entrepreneurs to build credibility by writing a book and getting it published.
Absolutely. I'd love to help entrepreneurial women, especially, to position themselves as an authority in their niche by publishing a book, because it really can. It's evergreen, right? It's not like just putting a Facebook post out there or an Instagram post that's going to be gone in a few hours and nobody's going to see it really. They'll have to dig and dig and dig and know what they're looking for to find it. But it's sort of like a website, it's evergreen. You put it out there, it's there. So once you create these things, like once you create a podcast, once you create a book, it's out there. And that is a tool. And most entrepreneurs, especially celebrities, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, all those mentors will tell you they don't publish books to make money. They publish books to establish themselves as an authority in that niche, in that topic. And that is really what I love to help women do, and help them see that, hey, just because I have a direct sales business doesn't mean I can't write a book. I can write a book on team building. I can write a book on, building authority in your niche, whatever. You can write a book about anything. 7 ways to take care of your skin, whatever. Everyone is an expert in something. And I love to help women discover that potential.
So I want to get to the yoga, but before we leave this subject of helping the entrepreneurs write their books, what exactly are you helping them with? Are you helping them with the writing or the publishing or the marketing, or how do you do it? What does it look like for them?
So on my website, I have it structured into 3 different phases, and that's what I call the 3 phases of self-publishing. There's the building stage, which is where you're going to build all the bare bones of your book. You're going to outline it. You're going to do brainstorming. You're going to come up with a title and a subtitle and things like that. And you're really going to get the structure, the foundation of your book completed. And then you have the polishing stage. That's a stage. And that's where an editor comes into play, a cover designer comes into play, a formatter comes in the picture. And that's where you're really going to start decorating, is what I call it. They decorate your book. They make it look really nice and sellable for the marketplace. And then you've got the blasting your book, your launching phase. So that's when you're going to publish it and launch it. And really, I've just learned so much over the years. I ran an author promotion service online for 3 years where I helped authors get organic reviews for their books. And I also helped them to market their books on social media channels. So I learned a ton about that. And so I can help people in different phases. And if you need it all, I can take you from beginning to end and beyond in a package deal, right? Like customized packages. But each one of those are separate packages as well to meet you where you are in your journey.
Okay, great. So watch this segue. You are also now writing a book yourself on this yoga journey, correct?
I just told you you're the second person I've told about that. And so I'm excited about it because I didn't think I had another book in me right now, but God works in mysterious ways and he put that on my heart. And other people have been asking, well, are you going to write a book about it? What's next? What's next? And I'm like, okay, I can write a book about this. I lived it for 365 days.
Yes. So we're going to talk about this experience that you are in the process of writing the book on right now. Mm-hmm. So let's start with going back to maybe the first time you were introduced to yoga. When do you remember when that was, and what that was all about?
You're going to laugh at me probably because being a yogi, a yoga instructor, it was on the Nintendo Wii. To be very honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that one, but okay.
You know what? I got my balance board. My husband bought it for me for Christmas because I had the daycare back then and I complained about my lower back all the time. And he's like, what can I get my wife? She likes to hula hoop and she likes to, go walking around the block and things like that. I've never been a runner. I've never been a cheerleader. I've never been a super athletic person, but I like fitness. I like to stay in shape, but I don't like to sweat. And he's like, what can I get her besides a gym membership? Because she won't go, that she can use to, do what she wants to do and have some little me time. And I didn't have much me time on it because my kids wanted to play on it, but I realized it was the best way for me to start yoga, mostly because I had the balance thing to it. And it would tell me when I've got too much weight shifted on my right or my left, it helped me self-regulate my body. It was awesome. So I really have to give props to Nintendo Wii for the yoga thing, because I did that for probably 2 years or so. And then my sister-in-law invited me to my first yoga class because she's an artsy type of person. And I went and I was like, oh God, this is killing me. I was like, this is totally different than the Wii. And I was like, how long do we have to hold this down for dog? What the heck, are we done yet? You know? And it was so different. And I said, you know what? I'm going to just start doing it at home, and I'm just going to, and I did it for a 30-day run a few years back in like 2015 or 16, I think it was. And I was like, I just love it so much. And I got away from it. Life happens, you know, and then you're just like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. So I knew when I started this 365-day run that I was going to have to be accountable to someone other than myself. I said, or else I will let myself slide, because I've done it before. So that was really important. But yeah, that's where it led. And for the past 7 or 8 years, I've been doing yoga off and on, never more than 30 days at a time. This was my very first time. And I don't go to classes. That was the one and only class really that I went to. So.
Oh my gosh, that was the one and only. Okay. So when he got you this Nintendo Wii yoga and you looked at it, what did you think when you first saw it?
To be honest, he has also, I'm not big on technology, or I used to not be. Now I'm getting better at it. But back then he would buy me things like a little flip phone or a smartphone. I remember my smartphone that he bought me the first time. It sat in that box for a month. My daycare kids had to show me how to use it. That's how non-technical minded I was. But with this board, it probably sat there for a few days in the package. He's like, you're not going to get it out and use it. I'm like, oh, I will. You know, I just haven't read up on it. I'm the type of person that's like all or nothing. I don't halfway do something. So I want to understand everything I can about it before I dive in. I really do. So,
it was a board? Was it a board on a ball, or what did it look like?
it looks like a scale almost, but it was long, it was long, right? Rectangular kind of, and it's got 2 sides to it. So anybody who's played the Wii knows that you stand on it with one foot on each side, and it tells you where your weight is being shifted.
Okay.
And you need to hold because it can sense that, right? You've got that thing in your hand, the sensor, or the remote in your hand, and it matches up to the sensor, and it'll say you need to, shift your weight more. There's 95% weight on this side or whatever, right? And it was like, okay, well, that's cool. It helps me regulate my weight, and which is very important in yoga, because you can cause injury, right? If you're leaning too much to one side every time you do that move, you're wondering why your back is aching on that side. You're like, oh, okay, that's why.
All right. So eventually you tried it out after a few days. And then you did that for a couple years. What did you notice during that time period when you were first getting into yoga? What did you start to like it for any particular reason, or what were some of the benefits that were coming out during that time?
Honestly, my lower back started feeling better because like I said, I worked out a little bit here and there, and I stretched, and I did things with the kids and stuff during the day, and I hula hoop, but I didn't get intense with it. I wasn't intentional with most of it. And so I remember one day having to call my husband at work and saying, my back just locked up. I cannot stand back up because I was pulling a kid's pants up at the potty. That's how simple it was to throw my back out. I said, oh, no. I cannot live like this. I cannot be in my 30s and having lower back pain, because I waited tables for many years. And then I had babies, and I was taking care of babies all day long. So mamas, anybody who's taking care of little ones, do not bend over and pull their pants up. Squat. Squat to save your back. I swear. Get on your knees if you have to. Do not bend over at the hip, at the waist. It's terrible. But that was it.
Is there the possibility of a book about yoga for mamas?
I think I'm going to incorporate some of that in there, because it does help you manage the stress in your life and, things like that. And really, I started this 365-day journey to be stronger physically and mentally for being there for my granddaughter. She's 2 years old, and she's with me a few days a week. I need to be active with her. She's a very active child. I'm not going to just sit on the stands and watch her play, sit on the sidelines. That was one reason I did it too.
Fantastic. So what what, okay, so that was part of the reason for doing the 365 days. Well, that was part of your reason for doing more yoga, was to be stronger with your granddaughter. But where did you get the idea that I'm going to do it for 365 days straight? And wait, I also have to break in here to say that is, to me, is really amazing, because as I've shared with you other times, I don't have that kind of self-discipline for sure. I got involved in yoga probably in my 20s. The first time I did it, I was 6, but in my 20s, but it was always off and on. It was always like I would do it for 6 months, and then there might be a year or two, and then started again, a little bit here, a little bit there. Not really a really consistent practice until the last few years, really, when I got certified, and I used the fact that I would have to show up as an instructor as my motivation for doing yoga. So now that the pandemic hit and I wasn't teaching, I've been doing my own yoga. And this is like the first time in my life that I have my own yoga practice. And it's not every day, okay? I wouldn't even take that on. I think it's really amazing. I think it's an amazing amount of self-discipline to be able to do that consistently. So that's my little break in there with that. So tell us more about how you got this idea of doing the yoga for 365 days.
Well, so like I said, I've done 30-day challenges, I've done 60-day challenges, I've done detox challenges and things like that. So I know I could do the short-term stuff. I knew that I could do that. But it was smack in the middle of the pandemic when they had finally said, okay, this is not going anywhere. This thing isn't going to be around for a while. And I started feeling the weight of that on my shoulders and in my mind, and with my daughter being home with her all day and my husband working out of town so much. And we were bored, and we were alone, and we were lonely, and we were like, I said, I've got to do something to make sure to be okay. I'm just going to be very real here. I was looking on social media a lot. I was watching all the news feeds. I was reading what people were posting. I was getting all upset. I was getting depressed. And all I saw pretty much all day was my friends who used to, do their hair and do their makeup and things like that. And they really used to do it up and look pretty on social media, were like, I give up. I'm eating whatever I want. I just saw women giving up. Yeah. And I can't stand to see someone disempowered at all. And I said, I refuse to do that. I refused. And I've gotten in that space too, where I was like, I didn't need to do makeup all the time anymore. Who cares? We can't go anywhere. We're wearing a mask and covering it up all the time. I made a conscious effort to make sure that I was going to show up for my daughter. My granddaughter really didn't know what was going on, but she knew if I was tired and if I didn't feel like playing with her, right? If I was stuck in my phone or something, and I was trying to let that be part, consuming my day. And I didn't. I said, no, I'm not going to fall into that trap. I'm not going to be that. I'm going to instead turn it around and be a light to hopefully inspire other women to stay on track, and some women jumped on board with it in the beginning. I was like, does anybody want to do this with me? And of course, I had a few people jump in, and I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not doing a program. I don't have YouTube videos. I'm just following these videos online on YouTube from this lady. I saw a lady named Danielle Diamond. And I said, okay, I started doing some research. I'm a huge researcher. I said, I want to know as much as I can about it. Like, I'm over 40 now. And this is really important, ladies. This is why I'm sharing it. I'm over 40 now, and after the age of 40, you start losing lean muscle mass. This is something I did not know. So I said, there's got to be something different I can do as a woman over 40 to strengthen my body in places that it needs it, and not just go through the motions of yoga, because anybody can go through a 5 or 10-minute routine of yoga. I wanted to be intentional. And when I saw Danielle Diamond's videos, I said, oh, she's using light weights. And she said, that was the key to change everything for me, to start rebuilding that lean muscle mass. And I'm telling you, the inches started falling off really quickly. My arms finally had some upper body strength. I finally had that going. And I'm telling you, without day 30, I was feeling it already. I was feeling stronger. I was feeling more confident. And I was showing up every day it wasn't till about probably 150, day 150, 120, something like that, that I started doing the videos to check in. Before that, I just had a group chat in Messenger and said, anybody who wants to jump in here and stay accountable with me, just all we have to do is say day 1 done, day 2 done. We're not going to jump on you and, shame you if you haven't done it. We're just going to cheer you on if you stay on track. If you get off track, you can start over again. No big deal. There's no pressure here. Well, of course, there was no one left with me at the end, but they were all still in there. I had asked them at about day, I don't know, 250 or something. I'm like, ladies, I feel like I'm, coming in here and just sharing this with you every day. If this is not something in your life that you want to be doing right now, if it's not fitting into your life, I don't want to be annoying you with it, right? So do you want me to shut this chat down? They're like, no, we're too invested. We're watching your videos. Leave it. We want to follow you to the end. And just knowing that I had to be accountable to them every day was huge for me. That got me to show up when I did not feel like, to be honest, I loved the yoga. I didn't mind doing the yoga every day. It's videoing it, right? It's filming it, making sure the lighting is good, right, Geva? Making sure I chose the cute music for it and the graphics for it. And that was a chore to me. It was fun in the beginning, but after a while, I'm like, oh, what song do I choose, Megan? What song do I need to put this one to? It needs to make sense. And it became a marketing strategy, right? Kind of to me. And I said, oh, this is taking the fun out of it. So I would always make sure, which by the way, if any of you saw those videos, some of my friends were saying like, oh, I could never do that. I said, I'm only showing you 15 seconds up to a minute of what I was doing. I'm not showing you my whole routine that I did before that to warm myself up. That would be boring. That would not inspire you, So sometimes I would show my bloopers. Sometimes I would show my warm-up routine and just a few basic stretches. But I also challenged myself and wanted to challenge them and give them something to tune into. Right? And I just wanted to share the benefits of yoga with them and say, hey, I can do this. I'm a grandma. I'm a mom of 3. I'm at home just like you are. You can do it too.
So take us kind of through it. What did it look like for you? Like what time of day were you doing it? How did you feel? What were you wearing? Tell us. And yeah.
So also I started on a Saturday, you guys, in the middle of the month. I didn't wait till the first of the month. I didn't wait till a Monday. I didn't wait till I had all the equipment. I started, I think I've still got them in my office. Hello. I started with ketchup bottles because I didn't have, I don't know why I still have them in my office. I didn't have weights. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to wait till I go buy some. And I couldn't find any. That was the problem. It was COVID and everybody was buying them. I couldn't even find them on Amazon. It took me several days to get some. And I needed to start with 2 pound and then 3 pound and then 5 pound and went up to 8 pounds. I said, I'm not going to let that stop me. And actually, I moved up to ketchup bottles. I started with applesauce jars, I think. So don't let it stop you. That was the biggest thing for me. But I was wearing my pajamas some nights and I didn't really set rigid rules for myself because I knew if I did that, I would be over analyzing it and I wouldn't get it done every day. And so what I said to myself was, do it before your head hits the pillow. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what time of day, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, it doesn't matter where you are, because back then I was traveling a lot with my husband to the camper and everything while he was working. And so I was like, okay, all I need to make sure is if I've got a yoga mat and I've got something to use as resistance, that's all I need. That's all I need. I didn't have the perfect yoga cute clothes. I still don't. I didn't have the perfect, lighting and everything. I propped my phone up on a stack of books and things like that. Just don't wait till it's perfect to get started. That was the biggest thing.
So going back to the weights and the ketchup bottles, 8 pound weights you got up to. That is quite amazing. What were you using the weights for? Because using weights in yoga is not that common. It's not part of my tradition that I'm involved with. So what did that look like?
I think it was because I needed some upper body strength to be able to move into those positions that I really wanted to do, like the handstands and the headstands, which by the way, I haven't even done a handstand yet. I can't do it yet. But I never thought I would do a headstand. I just thought it was a far off dream. But once I started strengthening my upper body, I realized I could throw myself up there, and I had already been strengthening my core. I was like, wow, this is getting easier and easier. Right about day, I don't know, 90, I was getting up there easier in like the tripod position and things like that. And so I think that's part of what it was, is just to strengthen my upper body, because that was something I've never had, upper body strength. And I said, well, lifting my granddaughter, I've got to be able to have that upper body strength, or it's going to kill my back. It's going to filter into that. So,
But what were you doing physically with the weights? Were you like up above or out, or
all that. I was actually
above?
doing like this, curls like this. I was doing one arm at a time. Yes, it was going like this. I mean, it was just, I was sitting on the floor doing it. I was laying down on the floor, pushing it up. I mean, you would be amazed at how quickly. It was 30 days. Like I said, 30 days, I started seeing definition in my biceps. Oh, like, wow, this really works. And it burns fat really quickly. And one thing I've always had is something in our family, we call it the Nick's arms, really thick upper arms, even though the rest of my body is kind of trim. All my sisters and I have it, right? That was a trademark for us, a family trait. And I said, that's really what I want. I don't want bat wings. No offense. I don't know what else it's called. Underarm fat. I don't know what else it's called, but I've always heard it called bat wings. And I said, I don't want to be in my 60s and waving my arms and my arm be shaking around. I just didn't. That's just me. And so I said, I'm going to make sure I target that and make sure I don't have that issue, because that was really important to me. So, yeah.
All right. For all the yoga enthusiasts out there, share with us what kind of yoga you've been doing, or what tradition does it come from? Did you take pieces from different ones? What were you inspired by? What yoga teachers or schools, or how did you find the yoga girl?
That was just research. Honestly, I was looking on YouTube and I said, I want to look for somebody who does yoga for women over 40. And I did. I found her. Her name's Danielle Diamond. It's called Zen Strength, Xen, Zen Strength. And it's free. And I was like, okay, there's no excuse not to do this. I'm going to follow this for a week or two and see how I feel. And I loved it. I love that she's real and she doesn't cut out her mistakes. If she loses her breath or her balance, she shows it. And I liked that. I resonated with that. What was the other question you were asking about? Oh, the moves, the positions?
No, I was just asking, like, what kind of yoga it was. Was it a sort of a generic hatha yoga, you think?
That's why I will not become a yoga instructor, because I don't care to learn those things. I called them whatever. And I remember what they were called from the Wii, like sun salutation and downward dog and upward dog and stuff like that. And they were just basic moves to me. So I knew probably 7 to 10 basic yoga moves. And all I did was hold them longer and do them in a different position, and, use props, use blocks, use weights, and add that to it. And really, I just transitioned myself into more challenging and more challenging. So once I would hold it for a minute, I'd hold it for 2 minutes or whatever, that kind of thing. Or I'd do 10 reps in 1 week, and then a couple weeks later, I'd move into 15 reps or something like that.
And what kind of sort of mental emotional benefits did you see? Did you see any mental emotional benefits from the practice?
When you start feeling stronger in your physical body, you start feeling stronger in your mind. You get into a headstand or a tripod even, and you even hold it for a few seconds. You're like, dang, I just did that. It starts making you feel like you can do other things. It really triggers something inside of you, like, man, I can do a headstand. I never thought I could do that. I wasn't a cheerleader. I wasn't a gymnast or anything special. I've never in my life been able to do a split, and I still can't, but I can go lower now than I could. And so to me, progress, and to most people, progress is really what makes us happy. It's not results. It's not the end results that make us happy or the destination. It's the progress that we see along the way that keeps us going. So every month I would check it off. I would do a 30-day mark and a 60-day mark and a 90-day and a 180 and a 300 or something like that. And then finally 365. And so I always had something to look forward to. And I started getting a little nervous toward the end when people were asking, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to stop doing it when the year is over? I'm like, heck no. Why would I do that? Because that would kind of, to me, erase everything I just did. And I feel too good doing yoga, especially now that I know more about it, more moves and stuff, to be able to incorporate into my practice. I do it for me. I do it because it centers my mind. It makes me feel slimmer in my clothes. I don't have that muffin top anymore, because I don't care how skinny you are, you can still have a muffin top. I don't know what else to call it either. I'm not trying to be rude here, but that's just what I've always heard it called. And so
Yeah, the technical term is muffin top.
oh, okay. Well, muffin top.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I don't know. I just know that, I don't feel like everybody has to be skinny mini. I feel like anybody can be beautiful at any size, but you got to feel confident and strong in whatever size you are. And for me personally, I wanted to be, at a certain size. And honestly, I didn't lose a whole lot of weight. Can you even guess how much I weigh?
I have no idea.
So I'm 5'7". All right, I'm 5'7". And almost anybody who looks at me never guesses my weight, because I distribute it in different places, differently, but I have problem areas. But to me, it's never been about getting into that little black dress or a bathing suit, honestly, even though I did celebrate. I bought myself a bikini for the first time in over a decade. But to me, it's always just been about feeling good in your own skin and how you show up in your life,
So you lost some weight, you're saying?
I lost 10 pounds, well, 12 pounds total. And I didn't,
gained.
huh?
You gained muscle. So
I
you
did, I gained
lost
muscle.
more.
And see, I never measured it really against the scale. After that, I was like, I don't really care how
Right.
much I've lost. I don't care about that. I care about how I feel, and how I feel in my clothes, basically. I didn't want to be having things tight and wrinkled and crinkled and all that kind of stuff and hanging over and everything. I feel better when I don't have that.
Yeah, I totally agree that I've always believed that anybody can do yoga. Now, of course, that's taking into account any kind of disabilities or physical limitations that are real. But other than that, I've always believed that anybody can do yoga. I've had people in my classes that were over 300 pounds that have done yoga. And at first they didn't think they could do it. And I was like, anybody can do yoga. Okay. You're just going to try. You're just going to do it, take your time and, go at your own pace. But yoga is so beneficial to all different body types, and it provides so many benefits emotionally and physically, and I love it. But so kind of going along with that, part of your message is that anybody can do yoga, but also to not wait, get started and use what you have. You started out with ketchup bottles, right?
Absolutely.
And, kind of going along with what you're saying too, I've always felt that as long as I have a 2 foot by 6 foot space, so 2 foot by 6 foot space, anywhere I can do yoga.
Yeah.
So there's really, no excuses when it comes to that, like, oh, I don't have space or whatever. I've always made sure that everywhere I go, like even hotel rooms, that there's a 2 foot by 6 foot space, I can do yoga. And I've known, actually, I used to teach in a facility where they had bunks, and some of the students would do yoga in between the classes, between when I would see them, in between the bunk beds, the bunks.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. That was me at my camper. One night I get down there and there's like that same amount of space, 2 feet by 6 feet. And it was to the point that, you're doing these moves like this and you're bumping the top of the camper. And I'm like, this is so frustrating. And so I had to really get creative and say, okay, what moves can I do in this space? I've done yoga on the beach, outside of my front yard, in my camper, on a dock. I've done yoga everywhere, in my living room, in my hallway, in my bedroom. You can do yoga anywhere. You're right. You're right. And one day I was sick as a dog. I really believe I got COVID because me and my kids seemed to have it. It was last year around October or so. I missed one day but I was already like 100 and I don't know, not 100, yeah, a little over 100 maybe days. And I said, I'm not gonna let that stop me. I laid on the bed sick and I did a few ab things, and I said, that's all I can do for today, but tomorrow I'm gonna double up. And I did. And then I kept
Wow.
going. I said, I'm not
Wow.
going to come this far to come this far. I'm going to keep going. And my husband really, he was like, wow. So he got more and more excited as we went along. And I was at about day 350. This is crazy, Geva. Day 350. And we had gotten Bella, the puppy that we've got. And we had been at the beach all day. I was exhausted. We came back to the camper and it was 2:30 in the morning. And I shot up in bed when my husband came to bed. He goes to bed late and he goes, what's the matter? I said, I forgot to do my yoga today. He goes, get up now. Go do it right now. I went into the living room. I was like, it's too late. He goes, it is still not midnight on the West Coast. Get up and go do yoga. And I was okay, that counts? He's like, yes, that counts. Get up and go do it. So I did 10 minutes of yoga at 2:30 a.m. in my camper. So it's just a matter of, not can I do this, but how can I do this? How can I make this work? And when we that was the thing, Geva, that shifted in my head during this process is, wait a minute, I can do this, but I'm struggling with this in my business or my life or my personal life, my relationships or health or whatever. So how can I make it work? What can I do? And it really just changed my perspective, my outlook on every other aspect of my life. So I love it.
It's such an important message to have that kind of a shift, because we get stuck in our ideas, our thoughts and our beliefs, our ideas. We get stuck in thinking that we can't do something, or something's not possible, or this is the roadblock, and because of this roadblock, forget it. And just having that shift of perspective from I can't do it to how can I do it, or what do I need to do to make this happen. And the fact that you started seeing that in other parts of your life is so interesting. It's so interesting. So you think that came specifically from this challenge?
I do, because like I said, I've done 30-day challenges and I've never gotten to this place mentally. I've never gotten to this quiet place in my head to where I can handle stress better, to where things are not as chaotic in my head, because I do overanalyze things. I am a little bit of a perfectionist. I do like to have things in place before I dive into something. So I had to put that part of me aside and just show up and do it. I said, do it messy, do it wrong, do it ineffectively, just show up and do it, because you can't tweak no result. You can't tweak no action. You can tweak terrible action. You can tweak improper action or ineffective action, but you can't tweak no action. So that's what I told myself every day. It's like, just show up and do it, and show up and be accountable, whether anybody else shows up, whether anybody watches your videos, whether anybody cheers you on or anything like that, whether anybody in your family cares about it or respects what you're doing. It took them a while. They were like, oh, mom's got to go do her yoga. Mom's got to go do her, you know what I mean? It was just kind of like, oh, do you really need the living room right now? Yes, I need it right now. Can I please have the living room right now? Can y'all please stop walking through in my shot? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Can the cats please get off my yoga mat, for crying out loud? My cat got on my yoga mat every single time. But, that was life. And so I would turn it into a funny thing in my videos too, and just let them be part of it. I said, my son was photobombing me or whatever. I just said, this is my life.
But going back to this part about perseverance, or changing it from whether I'm going to make it or not to how I'm going to make it, that kind of thing. Did you find that you got to, other than that night at 2:30 in the morning, did you find that you got to points where you just emotionally like, I don't want to do this anymore, and push through? Or did you also, or did you get to a lot of small challenges that you had to push through?
The headstand was a thing for me, because I had never really thought about doing headstands. I was just going to do my basic 7 to 10 poses and do the flow, right? I was just calling it my flow every day. And I saw my friend Stephanie, who I had met on Facebook, and I'm like, dang, she looks good doing that. I want to do that. And I was like, how can I do that? There's no way. There's no way I could do that. I've never done that in my life. And so I started doing tripods, and then I posted it or shared it with her or something. She says, yeah, that's pretty good. Lean more to your right or whatever. And she's been awesome. She's a yoga instructor. And she's like, yeah, if you'll do this, then you'll get up there easier or whatever, right? Spread your fingers out a little bit further on that crow pose, and you'll be able to hold yourself up. I'm like, cool. And so I got to the point where it became, I didn't have as much focus on my business and my projects and things like that I was working on. I was really covered up with my time with my granddaughter and my daughter. We had a lot going on, and I was potty training her and everything. So I did not have as much time and focus for all those other things. And I felt guilty about that. I've always been like an overachiever. So the domestic life for me has never really been fulfilling enough. I absolutely love being a mom. Anybody knows I'll talk about that all day long. And my kids know that I love it, but it's never been like enough for me. I've never felt like it was enough for me to do in life. But so I used this yoga challenge as, I can do this. This is going to be something that I don't know anybody else who's ever done it. Maybe people who are yoga instructors, and they've done that on their videos or whatever, but I don't know anybody in person who's ever done it. And even my friend Stephanie was like, yeah, I haven't done it. So that was important to me. I'm like, this is something different. It's something I can focus on. I can put all my energy into, and I can do it. So no, I really didn't reach moments where I was like, no, I don't feel like doing this. It was more like, I don't feel like making that video. I felt like doing the yoga because I know the benefits of the yoga for my body. I knew that if I didn't do the yoga that night and I skipped that night, I was probably going to be a little sore the next day because of how my life goes every day, right? Because of all the things that I have to do. But I never really got that point, but I did reach little times whenever I said, this is kind of boring. I'm getting tired of these yoga flows. I need something to mix it up a little bit. So yeah, I wanted to reach out and find more things to be able to do. So I started looking up posts on YouTube, and I still don't know the names of them, the yoga names of them. I just call them whatever they look like to me. Because I really, I don't want to get into the liability side of it either, Geva. I'm sure you've gotten into that of, oh, if I tell someone wrong and they get injured, I don't want that on me. That's a huge liability. I just want to do it for fun and inspire people that, hey, this is one thing you might consider doing to stay healthy. Because there are so many different things you can do. I'm just not a runner. That wasn't for me, and it's not for a lot of other people, but yoga's not for a lot of other people. They think it's not.
That kind of brings up something else that I was going to ask you. Do you think that there's any possibility that you might want to get trained to be an instructor someday?
I'm saying no right now, but to be honest, everything in my life that I've tried to push against, God was like, well, let's talk about that, because I kind of got some plans for you over here, and things are going to be hard for you. I've always asked my mom, I'm like, well, Mom, why are things so hard for me? She says, well, God uses people in different ways, Tracy, and sometimes he gives his strongest soldiers hit the hardest battles. I'm like, okay, God, that's enough. I've had enough. I'm strong enough. I promise I'm strong enough.
Yeah,
You ever felt that way? But I just feel like at this point in my life now, especially after meeting you and meeting some of the women in this group, I love the energy in this group, and I love that these women speak out, and I'm meeting so many women from different walks of life who are stepping into their power as women in their health, in their sexual health, in their fitness, in their marriages, in their dating life, whatever. And it inspires me. I really feel like we can learn something from every single person we come in contact with, right? It's either a blessing or a lesson. And so I just look at it that way, and whatever comes now, because I'm not going to resist it anymore, because every time I've tried to do that, I've ended up frustrated, overwhelmed, emotional, and I'm just not wanting to go down that path anymore. It's kind of like I'm over that BS, in your 40s, you kind of get to that point. You're like, I'm past that point. I don't want anything fake in my life. I don't want to go through the motions for anything in my life anymore. I just want to be fulfilled. I want to live a fulfilled life, not just a happy life.
Oh, so it's such a good message. But speaking about messages as well, so when you did this challenge and you were overcoming different parts of it and you made it all the way through and you started to look at, how can I make this happen? How can I make this happen? And overcoming all the different pieces to make it to the end. Do you feel like you may approach or maybe go through other big challenges and goals? Do you feel like you might even take on more big goals now because you did this?
Well, let me just say this. I actually already did. I had been wanting to do a podcast for a couple of years and I just didn't take the time. I just thought it was too big, right? It was too big a dream. I've got to wait till things are easier in my life. I've got to wait till I've got more time to research it and make sure I'm doing it correctly and effectively and everything. I ended up writing a book that I wasn't planning to write, launching a podcast that I had no plans to launch, launched a new Facebook group that was connected to that brand, created an entire brand for moms I wasn't planning to do. It was truly everything. My steps were laid out and I was just trying to turn around and go back the other way. I wasn't trying to go up that staircase. I couldn't see the top of it, so I didn't want to keep going. I wanted to know how everything was supposed to be. And then I also ended up launching a new brand for the women who self-publish books. So my goodness, that if I had not been doing that yoga challenge, I probably would not have been in a state of mind to think that I could even tackle something like that at what was going on in my life at the moment.
And it helped you get through the pandemic.
Yes, because it gave me something. This was the other reason I did it, Geva. I was starting to lose track of days. I couldn't remember what day of the week it was, what month it was. I was really starting to feel like I was sinking into this black hole. And anybody who's ever known me knows I'm always like the sunshine girl. I'm always not over the top, but I'm realistic. But at the same time, I always try to be looking at the positive side of things. And it was hard for me to do that. When I finally got to that breaking point, I said, this is terrible. I don't want to be this person. I don't want to be the one who is sharing all this negative stuff online. And I was sharing that negative stuff about the kids getting kidnapped and all that kind of stuff and all the Hollywood stuff going on and all the political stuff going on. I got on that bandwagon and I absolutely cannot stand bandwagons, but I fell into that trap like a lot of people did. And I said, I've got to do something to get myself out of this and make sure I don't fall further into that abyss, because it's not who I am. It's not who I want to be. And it's not who I want to show up as in front of my kids, in front of my friends and family, in front of people who follow me on Facebook, who've known, because people were messaging me saying, Tracy, are you okay? I just wanted to make sure because of the stuff you've been sharing lately. Are you going through somebody asked me, did I join a cult?
Oh my gosh.
I said, no, I did not join a cult. I'm okay. I'm okay. But I said that was really my breaking point. I said, would someone ask me that? No, what? They asked me if I was part of QAnon.
Oh my gosh. So you, just for our listeners out there and our watchers out there, she's not in a cult. She's never been in a cult. Just to clarify for everyone. But so the 365-day challenge of yoga is over. You are working on a book. You're now in a 30-day challenge that you're doing for yourself, just a 30-day, different kind. Tell us just briefly about that, because I want to talk a little bit about how you are supporting other people.
Yeah, so I saw my friend Stephanie's video one day. It was an ab thing. And I said, wait a minute. And she goes, and she mentioned one little thing in the video that said, if you do this every day for 30 days, you're going to get really tight abs and really tight stomach. I was like, that's the one thing that didn't happen during my 365-day thing, because I wasn't intentionally focusing on that. I said, I'm going to do this for 30 days. I want those abs. And so I said, I'm just going to do a before picture and an after picture and to see where I am. And it also, because people kept asking, what's next? And I said, this is what's next. Follow me.
All right, 30 days of abs with yoga, right? Yoga with
day
abs?
17. I gotta do today. I think it's day 18 today, I think.
Okay. So before, just to kind of wrap things up, you're working on the book that'll be coming out. Can you share with us again how you serve entrepreneurs?
So I know it feels kind of all over the place sometimes of what I do whenever people approach me, but I really, at the heart of it, just love educating women on better ways to show up in their lives. That's really what it is. So I'm all about non-toxic products. You'll see those on my timeline. I'm all about helping women tell their stories and find their purpose. So whether that's publishing a book, launching a podcast, finding a career, whatever it's meant for them. I'm really good at helping other people. I'm not so great at helping myself sometimes. I think that's the mechanic's car always broken thing, but I am really skilled at that. That's one of my gifts, I say. Breaking down complex topics into simpler, bite-sized, practical pieces. Pragmatic is my middle name. And like you said, the ketchup bottle, that's just me all day long. I don't let big concepts break me down. I break them down. And
I love that. That's so great.
I do that for other people because I'm a teacher at heart. I'm an educator to my core. And I love helping somebody see a light bulb moment and like, oh, that makes so much sense, whether it's with their books or their brand or their health or their, marketing, whatever. So I love to do it all. I feel like if I've got these gifts, I've got the gift of writing. I love to write and I can write about pretty much any topic. And I've got the gift of breaking down those complex topics.
Speaking of which, writing, let's mention, just tell us a little bit about your books. I know that they are accessible on your website and some of them are on Amazon, right? But tell us a little bit about the different titles, topics.
So most of them are for moms because I wrote books about things that were going on in my life. So I wrote a potty training guide. I wrote a guide to help parents decide between types of childcare centers or home daycare or facility care or whatever. I broke down all the pros and cons of that for them. I have a curriculum book that I use to teach all the kids in my daycare their concepts, shapes, colors, numbers, letters, all of that. That was my entire curriculum called Little Sponges. I have a couple of romance novellas just for fun, and they are pretty clean. They're not dirty. They got a couple little scenes in them, but they were just for fun. I wanted to see if I could do it. I challenged myself. I never thought that I would write anything like that, but they turned out well. And I wrote some tutorials for authors about the different stages of the publishing process. So I've got those books. Those books were based on a year-long blog segment where I showed up every single day for a year and blogged about the self-publishing industry. And then I ended up having over 1,000 pages worth of content. So I broke it up into 3 different volumes. So I've got that, and then a couple of children's books. And then the Rise Up Mamas book is my latest book, and it's all about helping women step into their power as a parent.
Okay, excellent. And you have a couple of free offers as well for people. One of them is called How to Get Your Book on Amazon in 72 Hours. So that is for people that want to self-publish. That is located on your website. Is it tracysanders.com?
Yeah,
the website
tracysanders.com.
How to Get Your Book on Amazon in 72 Hours. You also have a free offer, 5 Ways to Discover Your Calling. And that is also on tracysanders.com. And we should point out that it's TracySanders.com. So Tracy Sanders with I.com. And
Correct.
If people want to connect with you, they can do that through Facebook, through our group, Over 40 Fearless and Free. We didn't really say a lot about how you help the entrepreneurs in our group. Do you want to do that before we head out?
Yeah, basically, I just help them get a clear vision on their marketing strategy, some quick tips of what types of things to post on social media, how often to post, attraction marketing. I go over that concept. If you don't know what that is and you're an entrepreneur, you definitely need to learn what that is because it is the way to market these days. It's the most effective way. I won't say it's the right way. I'll say it's the most effective way because anything can bring results, right? But then basically just show up and brand yourself. That's really what I focus on to teach women. I paid thousands of dollars for this VIP training and coaching years ago, and it stuck with me. And I'm that type of person. Once I hear something like that in my brain, it's like glass shattering every time I see it. I'm like, oh no, please let me show you a better way. Because I want to help people have the most success because it really it strengthens the whole industry of marketing, right? It strengthens the whole social media industry.
So if there are women in the Over 40 Fearless and Free group, or really any female entrepreneur that wants to get more awareness for their brand and their work, and they want to do it in our group of over 11,000 women, Tracy is your gal. She is the one that coordinates the subscriptions. She will help you get started, and she will help you through the process, the onboarding. There's also a 15-minute or 30-minute strategy session with Tracy about marketing that's included in the subscription. So reach out to Tracy about the subscriptions and about how to get more marketing and awareness for your brand if you are interested in marketing to women over 40. So with that, I want to again congratulate you and acknowledge you for this amazing accomplishment that you have done of 365 days of yoga. I'm so impressed with your determination and your perseverance, and what amazing feat. And
you.
how wonderful that you're going to be sharing the message and all that you learned about this and inspiring women through a book. That is fantastic also. So congratulations on that. And women, if you want to connect with Tracy, if you want to get your book published, if you want to get inspired, if you want to get more reach for your brand, more brand awareness, contact Tracy, reach out to her on Facebook or through the group Over 40 Fearless and Free, or on her website tracysanders.com with an I. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Any last words for our viewers?
No, well, basically just, show up. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Just be you, and you will attract the right people. You will start inspiring people who you may never even meet, and you may never even know all the lives you've impacted and touched by showing up.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again. Hopefully you'll come back.
Of course, I'm around.
Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.